way these past couple of chapters have been going for Jujutsu Kaisen lately, it is truly difficult to predict what is going to happen. Like, when you read through the past 5 chapters, at the very least, it has been a non-stop roller coaster that no one saw coming. And now we're on a 2-week break with JJK seemingly gone to go and cook up some more actual madness for us to digest and feast our eyeballs on for when he returns. And one thing that has been really bugging me for a little minute now is, who the f is Yuta? Yuta Okkotsu has been literally gone for almost a year now. Like, I wish I was joking. My man Yuta had one of the sickest 3-ways fights in this series and then just bounced elsewhere. Like, seriously, look at this panel and tell me you don't think it is one of the coldest panels in Jujutsu Kaisen. I mean, sure, it was an absolute blue ball and a big old slap on the ass from JJK, but good lord, that panel went so goddamn crazy, brother. Like, Yuta, Ryu, Uro, Kuroroshi, all just falling. Ryu is vibing, having the time of his life, lighting up a ciggy mid-air. Kuroroshi cannot wait to get those cheeks from Uro, and Yuta is just happy to be there. But since the chapter of 181 on April 17th, 2022, we have literally not seen one thing of Yuta at all. We didn't even get to see him reacting to the light passing over the colonies a couple of chapters ago, and now we know Sukuna is literally somewhere close to where Yuta was just after this fight, which to me is actually insane. With Sukuna being right where Yuta possibly just was and literally destroying Ryu in 2 shots, and now we have Sukuna and Yorozu getting ready to have an all-out brawl, with Sukuna literally about to summon the mahoraga. And my point here is, what happens next? Where could JJK go with this next chapter? What will he do? One thing I would like to see personally is Yuta turn up to the battleground. I mean, at first, and I've said it now a couple of times, I said I need and want my boy Yuta to stay and hurry his ass as far away from Sukuna as possible. But then I changed my mind. I think it would be interesting to have Yuta be one of our first top tier sorcerers from our main cast we've seen in the series fight against Sukuna. I think it'd be interesting to see just how Yuta stacks up against Sukuna, with him being touted as potentially, or canonically, the second most powerful in the series. And I want to make this very, very crystal clear. I do ultimately think Yuta loses in a fight against Sukuna in a straight up 1v1. I think Yuta would get completely molly-whopped, smoked, and rolled. However, narratively, in this series, 1v1s are quite rare. Most of the fights that happen in this series are normally someone just getting jumped, and maybe towards the end of the fight ends up in a 1v1. However, I think right now, with Yuta potentially being close to the area of where Sukuna is and possibly even sensing his presence the same way Ryu and Uro did, it would be a perfect opportunity for him to get involved in the fight with Sukuna and Yorozu. And I also think Yuta appearing would potentially help Megumi's soul possibly push up to the surface again, which will obviously hinder Sukuna just a little bit more. And right now, if we have any hope of beating Sukuna, then we are going to need everything we can get right now. If we want our good guys to have a successful story in here, we need Sukuna to be Gonskis, and we need every bit of help that we can get. But should Yuta not turn up in the next chapter, I would love to see him meet up with Yuji, Maki, and everyone else to maybe heal up Hana and Angel, and maybe even get back to Choso to free Gojo with Angel, because it feels like we are genuinely so close to seeing Gojo be unsealed, but again, it feels like we're also so far away from that at the same time that it is causing me physical pain. I feel like a donkey with a fucking carrot on a fishing rod in front of me, just plodding along, trying to get that carrot, and JJK just keeps pulling it further away from us. But again, though, if Yuta doesn't turn up in the next chapter, we are in for one serious fight between Sukuna and Yorozu regardless. And I, for one, personally, I think it's going to surprise a lot of people, genuinely. I think a lot of people are underestimating Yorozu and her powers, but this woman has been around for 1,000 years, and it is implied that Yorozu and Sukuna have fought before. So off the back of that implication, you bet your sweet bippy that Yorozu has obviously survived that fight, and that fight may or may not have happened before Sukuna reached his maximum power. Maybe it happened when Sukuna was on his come up. A lot of people just envisage Sukuna as this always all-powerful being, but he might not have always been like that. The same way Gojo wasn't always the strongest. It could be a case of when Sukuna was coming up, that was when him and Yorozu fought. Maybe he fought against her when his shrine technique, or malevolent shrine technique, wasn't perfectly completed yet to the point of what it is right now. But even still, well. Seeing Yorozu actually upset that Sukuna wasn't using his own technique in the previous chapter has me believing that Yorozu might be the first person to give Sukuna a proper fight in the series, which is going to be actually insane to witness. And again, I'm saying this is a big might here. Yorozu might just be absolutely batshit crazy and get no diffed by the mahoraga in 2 pages, in which case, unlucky, GG's go next. But coming back around to my Yuta point, I do think it would be very interesting to have Yuta turn up to this fight here. I think narratively it fits into the ways of having these sorcerer battle royales or 2v1 fights or 1v2 fights, and or in Gojo's case a 1v3 fight. And then as a fan of Yuta, I think it'd just be nice just to have him back on the panels. I'm just trying to see my boy again. I just want to make sure he's okay until he fights Sukuna, in which case then he's probably not going to be okay. But again, I changed my mind on the whole thing. I kind of actually want to see him interact with Sukuna. I want to see how our boy, our prodigy, stacks up against Sukuna. It's going to be interesting to see. I think either way, this next chapter when it drops is going to be a big one. The past couple of chapters after a break have been absolutely massive, and in KK we trust. But that has been my prediction here. Let me know in the comments down below what your predictions are, what you think of this video. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Yuta turns up? Do you think he stays hidden? Do you think Sukuna dominates the fight? Maybe Yorozu absolutely dominates Sukuna and mahoraga and forces him to use his own technique? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. And as always, catch you guys all in the next one. Much love, big kisses. Bye-bye.